The Fujifilm 33mm 1.4mm lens is the last one in the trio of LM primes we reviewed, and for a good reason. We usually buy gear to make a review and then sell it to get the next one, and this time we knew we would keep it. The most common reaction to photos taken with this lens is wow! It's an incredibly impressive lens with top-notch sharpness, bokeh and autofocus speed. After watching today's video, you will understand why this is the lens to choose as your one and only. The build quality of the Fujifilm 33mm 1.4 lens, like its LM prime siblings, is exceptional. It boasts 15 glass elements, including several specialty glass elements, a 9-bladed aperture, and LM focusing motors, all housed in a beautiful metal body. Additionally, the lens is weather sealed, providing protection against dust and moisture. The aperture rings clicks nicely and provide a satisfying tactile experience. The lens doesn't have any other physical control besides the aperture ring. Of course, all this glass and metal makes Fujifilm 33mm 1.4 lamp a relatively heavy lens. Weighing in at 360 grams, it's as heavy as some Fujifilm cameras like the X-T30. The old Fujifilm 35mm 1.4 is 2 times lighter, weighs in at only 187 grams. In terms of autofocus performance, it is just as good as 2 other Fujifilm primes that I have already reviewed. You can watch these videos here. The LM focusing motors are great, they are fast and silent. However, the autofocus speed as a whole is still far from perfect, and this lens is well suited to highlighting all of its shortcomings. Here's what I mean. The lens responds quickly to camera commands and changes focus very fast. But right now, even on X-H2S, it still sometimes misses focus. For example, in dark environments and when shooting against the light, the hit rate will suffer. You have to tinker with settings and optimize them for each situation to achieve results similar to what you can get with Sony or Canon by default. Fujifilm's autofocus system still falls behind. The incredible sharpness of this lens only serves to highlight this issue. For video, linear motors work very well, but again, within Fujifilm's limits. So tracking is limited to eyes, faces and several objects you have to go and select from the menu. No touch tracking, no general object recognition. LM motors are known for bad manual focus experience, but on the Fujifilm 33mm 1.4 lens they are just terrible. It's hard to be precise, and for video the process looks very jittery. If the lens weren't so sharp, maybe you wouldn't see when it missed a little, but the lens is stock sharp. It produces beautiful, sharp images with excellent color renderization and beautiful bokeh. Everything you are shooting close to mid-range will look outstanding. This lens doesn't have much flare, and even if you get flares in the frame, you won't lose contrast. There is no noticeable fringing and distortion is minimal. This is a great lens for product shots and portraits. And you can be very flexible at wide open with subject placement. There is no noticeable softness in the corners like with old 35mm lens. Sharpness stays great at all apertures, peaking at a 4 f5.6. Optically, this lens is remarkable. This is the lens to get to unleash the potential of the high megapixel sensors of X-H2 and X-T5. Another notable feature of the Fujifilm 33mm 1.4 LM lens is its ability to produce beautiful sun stars. When shooting with a closed-down aperture, the lens creates stunning 6-pointed star shapes around bright light sources. A lovely detail for your landscapes and street photos. From portraits to landscapes, from product photography to architecture, the Fujifilm 33mm 1.4 LM lens is incredibly versatile and can handle any task with ease. This lens can really do it all. In a Fujifilm 23mm 1.4 LM review, I called it the best first lens. Great way to start your collection. You can get 23mm and then something even wider and something for portraits, but if you want only one lens, Fujifilm 33mm 1.4 is your best choice. Thanks to a wide aperture and close focus distance, it gives great object separation. The lens is very sharp, wide open and works great when shooting close. Great for portraits and product shots with a little environment in the frame. It's perfect for quick portrait-like shots or just shooting on the go. Very similar to 56mm, but a more practical focal length for everyday snapshots. And while the 90mm f2 or 75mm 1.2 from Viltrox are great for portraits, they can be too heavy to carry around all the time. This is where the 33mm lens really shines, as it's lightweight and compact but still delivers stunning image quality. And it still can produce lovely landscapes and street photos, and for some situations it can be even better suited than the wide angle. Those can be challenging to use because they require a beautiful location and lighting, or the ability to control it. A narrower field of view, like that of the 33mm lens, allows you to keep unwanted elements out of your shots and focus on the smaller, narrower part of the world in front of you. For me, it makes the 33mm a sweet spot focal length that allows you to capture stunning shots anywhere and anytime. And Fujifilm 33mm 1.4mm lens is an amazing piece of glass that's strong exactly where it has to be. But of course, you will have to pay for it. Literally. The price in US is $800 before taxes, making it cheaper than the other two LM primes, but still it's a lot more expensive than the old 35mm 1.4 lens. But this lens worth it. Sharp across the frame, no noticeable optical flaws, beautiful bokeh rendering and can focus very close. Fuji really nailed with this lens. Get it if you have money to do so.